Hey guys, how's it going, and welcome to a new progress video on the free-to-play Ultimate Iron Man. So I recently reached the milestone of 80 smithing, so I figured it was a decent time to make a new progress video. So since the last video, I finished up the rune crafting, which only took a few days, got that to level 60, used up all of the noted essence from Anku's, so 60 looks pretty nice for that. And then since then I've just been doing the iron runs that I was talking about, and I think it's been like a month and a half or something. I haven't kept exactly too close track, but yeah, I've just been doing the Varrock Southwest iron smithing runs since then, and I've gone from level 58 to level 80 smithing, and that's the primary thing that I'm working on, obviously. And I've also gone from 68 to 87 mining and 58 to 68 magic, the magic being mostly from the teleports, but some of it also from actually runes that I get from mazes. I've also gained a few other odd levels. I went from 31 to 41 woodcutting. When I got level 70 smithing, I got a adamant axe, and I figured I'd get the wood king up to 41, and then won't do any more woodcutting at 41 until I get a rune axe, so I can be completely efficient all the time. And I did do a little bit of fishing actually pretty recently, because whenever I get maze randoms, I do them, and the last one that I did, I got like 1.1 or 1.2k feathers, and I figured I'd just use them up for some fly fishing, and got that to 55 and cooking to 56, which is fairly decent. I'll probably continue to use up any useful supplies I get from mazes as time goes on. I've collected all of these iron arrows just from mazes. I've gotten probably around like 50k or so magic XP through the chaos and deaths you get from them sometimes for Crumble Undead and Fire Blasts on Anku's. And I've been able to do a bit of superheating as well with some of the nature runes that I get from them, so mazes are actually really good for free-to-play Iron Man. But yeah, I think I've been enjoying the mining and smithing grind. It's been pretty cool. It's been nice to finally level up to smithing and get it to decent levels, because it is one of the slowest skills on free-to-play Iron Man, so having it at level 80 already feels pretty nice. The goal level for smithing is 89, so I can make a rune scimitar, so I'm getting kind of close to halfway there. 82 will be halfway there, and I'm like over halfway to 81 from 80 anyways at this point. As far as the XP rate, it does vary a little bit just because making iron bars is RNG based, but I usually nowadays get around like 6.5 to 7k XP per hour, which is better than it used to be before the total of worlds came out, which is something that happened a few weeks ago, and they're really nice. This spot that I'm mining at now used to be incredibly crowded with bots. It would be like almost all the time there'd be at least 2 or 3 bots in every world. Sometimes every world would have like 5 bots in it. It was really bad, and it definitely slowed down the XP rates, because even though you could beat the bots most of the time, still just took longer overall, because sometimes they would get them. But yeah, ever since the total level worlds came out for free to play, it's been so much better. There's now a world that requires 750 skill total and only free to play skills, and also one for 500. So if you're a free to play only account, you actually need 758, since there's 8 members skills that you have level 1 and that contribute towards your visible total level here. But yeah, I've had the requirement for that since they came out, and it's been a definite godsend. I guess I'm a little bit glad that I got the experience of what it's like to deal with bots, just so I could enjoy it so much when I didn't have to afterwards. But yeah, I'm glad that I get to mine and smith mostly in peace nowadays. You might be wondering why I'm wearing this horrible outfit that I'm wearing right now, and it's well, the mime pieces I'm wearing because I want to eventually unlock the mime emotes that I don't already have, and my assumption is that the fewer mime pieces, like outfit pieces I can get, the more likely it is that I'll get the emotes instead. But I swear all of the past mimes that I've gotten since I got the rest of these pieces have been masks, which is weird because I unlocked 2 of the 4 emotes at Anku's with no pieces, but I haven't been able to unlock them the other ones. And it seems like I just keep getting masks, which is strange, but I guess we'll see. They don't weigh anything, so it's just kind of a bit of an eyesore, but it's not really too bad. And then I wear the reindeer hat because it's actually pretty useful for mining. I could use it all the time. I don't really. I mainly just use it to prevent people from crashing me, and it was good for when bots got really bad. But you can spawn snow with this thing, and then you can basically mine a little bit faster for the spot that I'm using. It doesn't really work in quite the same way as most tick manipulation, because mining is 3 ticks by default, as is picking up snow, but since I'm only mining 2 rocks and most of the time I'm waiting on spawns, I can start collecting snow before the rock actually respawns, and then the 3rd tick after I start collecting snow, I can click on the rock, like if I time it right just as the rock spawns, and unless somebody else is doing the exact same thing, I will definitely get the ore faster than them, which is pretty useful. If I were to use it all the time, it would speed up my XP per hour doing this by maybe as much as like 5%, so I probably should be using it all the time, but I've just been kind of too lazy to bother because it makes it a lot more difficult to be as efficient on my main, and yeah, it just adds up to maybe saving me like 10 or 20 hours if I used it all the time, and I don't really mind taking an extra few days if I get to be a little bit lazy with this. But yeah, speaking of my main, I am still smithing on my main, over halfway there now. I'm at like 110 mil, so on both well, I guess I might get 200 mil smithing on my main before I get 89 in here, but I guess we'll just have to see. Hopefully they come in at around the same time, but they probably should. I think I have somewhere around 400 hours of this left on this account, and I guess, yeah, about 450 hours on my main, so it should work out pretty well. I've gone through various changes in hammer usage. A long time ago I was thinking that I would have to carry a hammer in my inventory, and then I discovered the upstairs Falador furnace room spawn of a hammer. Like if you go up the stairs in the Falador furnace room, there's a hammer that spawns up there. So for the first week or two, I was just going up these stairs each time, picking up a hammer up there and then dropping it after I used it, so I could still have the inventory space open and get one more ore per run. And it was worth doing that, but then somebody in my chat suggested the idea of putting the hammer on the table in the Varrock anvil house, which is a really good idea because items stay on tables longer than they stay on the floor. If I was to just drop the hammer on the floor, I think my run would be a bit too long, so that I wouldn't be able to, it wouldn't stay there long enough, but items stay on tables for like 10 minutes or something, so it works really well, and it is a little bit faster than getting the hammer upstairs. So that's what I've been working with these days. Sometimes people do steal the hammer, but it doesn't happen too often. Definitely more often when I'm streaming, but my backup is usually just buying a hammer from the general store in Varrock if I need to, because that also is fairly close by. Another thing that I changed after a few weeks is I used to wear my pickaxe and then have air runes in my inventory and save a couple of kilograms, which saves a tiny bit more run energy each trip. And I did that because I figured it'd be worth it, because GP didn't really have a huge amount of value, and I decided to change to wearing an air staff and having the extra weight and saving the GP, because it basically saved me like 250k GP, which is like half of my cash stack at this point. And it is a decent amount of money, and it only loses me at most maybe an hour off of all of the hundreds of hours, so pretty much negligible, and I figured it probably is worth it to save all of that money. So as far as plans for the future of this account, I am probably going to it's probably going to take me about 2 more months to finish the smithing to 89. I don't have quite as much time to play now as I did in the summer, of course, because I'm back at university, but I still play this account a fair amount, probably like 40 or 50 hours a week, and so I'm about 400 hours away, as I said, so yeah, like 200 hours a month is probably achievable for this account, so I should be able to get it like mid-December, I'd say, if I can keep playing as much as I do now. And after that, as of now anyways, I'm planning to just train my melees with the scimitar and probably just go straight for max, like all 3 of these to 99. I may change my mind, I'll have to see. I'm also thinking that I might get 43 prayer before I do that, just for the hell of it. When I finish this smithing, I'll have hardly anything, like I'll be pretty much out of elemental runes, and I'll only have maybe like 100 or 200 laws left, so going into the wilderness wouldn't really be a huge risk, and I may as well take advantage of that at least a little bit and do some boneyard prayer training, and having the 43 prayer before I do my melees would definitely be useful to at least do a little bit of prayer flicking here and there. But yeah, there's a big question of where I'm going to train. It's definitely going to be either hill giants or moss giants, and it's going to be an interesting decision. Once the total level worlds came out, I was fairly confident that I'd be able to do hill giants relatively efficiently. From what I'd heard, the hill giants weren't terribly crowded on world 85, but since the hill giant boss came out, they've been a lot more crowded from what I've heard. And if I'm getting really bad XP rates at hill giants, even though they have like better prayer XP and the hill giant boss has really good drops, if the XP per hour in melee is only like half that of moss giants, I think it still probably won't be worth it, just because, you know, it takes roughly 1,000 hours to max melees on hill giants on moss giants from what I can tell. And, you know, if it took me 2,000 to do it on hill giants, that would just be craziness. It would take, like, the extra 1,000 hours definitely wouldn't be worth the better GP and better runes and stuff, and better prayer XP. But basically, it just depends how crowded hill giants are in a couple of months, whether it's still really crowded with attraction to the boss or not. I feel like they probably will be, just because there's always going to be a lot of free players that want to kill the boss. Like, that's probably the most interesting content to most active free-to-play players, because people always like killing things and people like bosses, and people like making money also, and it's pretty good money for free-to-players. But either way, I'll probably at least train my lower level melees at hill giants, even if it's not the greatest XP, because like killing moss giants at low melees probably wouldn't be the greatest because I'd probably take too much damage. And also I definitely want to at least kill the boss until I get a rune kite shield, and probably I'll get a rune full helm from him also, rather than doing greater demons, just because greater demons are in the wilderness and that's kind of a hassle. I may actually go to hill giants and just full addy armor and a rune scimitar and just get all of my rune equipment from the boss itself, because it drops every single piece of rune armor that I would ever want. It drops full helm, chain body, plate legs or plate skirt, and kite shield. And chain body is the best plate armor to wear if you're killing giants, because they attack with crush and it has better crush defense than a rune plate body actually. So yeah, I won't be using rune plate body. But yeah, basically if I kill hill giants to max melee, I'll have a ton of nature runes, a ton of law runes, mostly coming from the boss. Probably I'll have like 20 to 30k laws and around the same, maybe a bit more nature runes, which is a really nice amount. And I'll have a lot of GP also, because the boss drops so many alkables that it will really add up over time. And I'll also have probably around 87 to 88 prayer, because the big bones there are quite frequent since you kill them quickly, and also the boss sometimes drops a bunch of noted big bones. So all of that would be really nice, but it may take a really long time. If I were to do moss giants, I would end up with like 82 prayer, I think it is, somewhere around 15k laws and 25k nats, but it could end up taking a lot less time. So that's what it really comes down to. Once I actually get the scimitar and start doing some training, I'll see what the rates are like at hill giants, see how crowded they are. Moss giants on Crandor seem to never really be that crowded, so that will be my backup, I guess. But yeah, once I have 89 smithing on this account, I'll pretty much have every individual skill unlocked to train as I please. Like right now, it would be inefficient for me to train melees, it would be inefficient for me to train woodcutting or fire making together because of the rune axe and, you know, the scimitar for melees. And I guess magic is kind of still on hold just because I need GP to do that, and I'll get a lot of GP from melees. But after I'm 89 smithing, I can kind of just do whatever. So if I end up at that point feeling like doing something totally different, then maybe I will, but I'll still have the option to do melee. I haven't totally decided what I'm going to do on my main after I finish smithing on my main at this point, and that definitely will affect what I do in this account somewhat. If I were to do something click intensive like fishing, then I'm not sure I'd be able to do melees at the same time. I mean, the melees should be fairly AFK, especially if I do moss giants, because they have higher HP, but I would maybe actually consider trying out some earth rune crafting, just because, you know, it would take a very long time to level up, but I'm still, you know, gaining HP and working towards, I guess the max total mindset is what I'm going for on this account, even though I don't think I'll ever actually max it. But, you know, trying out some earth rune crafting could be interesting, and it looks like it's pretty AFK because it's just mining essence, which is AFK. Most of the time you're walking rather than running, just because that's how free to play is, and that's pretty AFK. And yeah, so I might try that out, I'll see. Probably won't be doing much fishing or woodcutting though, just because those are fairly focused, and I would have to be doing something pretty AFK-able on my main to be able to do those. So even though these 4 skills are like the really fast ones to gain total XP and total levels, I probably will put those off for a while, and eventually if I'm doing something low effort on my main, I can just bang out a ton of XP on this account, and that will be pretty fun. Another question that people ask me a lot is why I don't either alch or sell the plate bodies and other items that I make, and the reason I don't alch is, of course, I don't have nature runes, and collecting nats would take a while, and it would waste an inventory space, and if I did have nats, I'd use them for superheating instead of alching, just so I could get smithing XP, because that's so valuable. And the reason I don't just sell them to a store or something is because like the time that it takes to walk from the anvils back up to like Horvik's store or something and then back again, it would definitely add up quite a bit. It would make my runs probably like 10 to 20% slower, and also it would take an extra inventory space to carry the coins, which means I would be slower XP per hour because of the 1 less ore, and I would need more laws for the same amount of smithing XP, because I'd be getting less smithing XP per run than per law. And because, like I often say, GP isn't really that valuable on these types of accounts, and I should be able to make plenty of GP through just training melees. One last thing I want to show is this website, which is a website made by Disciple, who is the rank 1 free-to-play ultimate, and it has EHP rates for regular free-to-plays, free-to-play Ironmen, and free-to-play ultimate Ironmen, and you can track yourself based on your type and see your EHP and your gains this week, which it's, I think, taking from CML. So I did just pass 1,000 EHP on this account, which is pretty cool. It's not totally accurate because the smithing EHP rate is for ultimates is I think 4.8k, which is kind of strange the way that it's worked out. I think it's based on gold for a while or something, which I don't even know is exactly efficient, but yeah, either way, it's not totally accurate, but I think I spent more time than this on ranged also, so maybe overall it is pretty accurate. I think I'm actually going to go to Lumbridge real quick. Let me home teleport and check my actual time played with Hans on this account, because I am kind of curious. Oh, look at that, he's right next to the teleport spot. So 45 days, how many hours is that? That's 1,080 hours, so I've been pretty efficient on this account, I must say. Much more efficient than my main, where I have like 5,000 EHP and 10,000 hours played. But yeah, I will have a link to that site in the description if you're curious about it and want to check it out for yourself. It is still a pretty nice thing to look at. But yeah, after this I will be, this is another thing people ask a lot, I'll be 95 mining, so that'll be pretty cool. 95 mining, 89 smithing, and probably 74 magic is what it's going to look like. So those stats will look pretty clean, definitely looking forward to it, and I'll have another progress video when I do get the 89 smithing, so it'll be a couple of months, but it should be pretty sick once I actually make that scimitar. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.